So you've got to apply the context, and in the context of what their expectations are, they're performing well.
You know, I have to say, another point I want to make is that, okay, when you look at Renegades at the moment, they're not going to be playing a lot regionally because, they're going to be scrimming a lot with these kind of teams because, as they said themselves and as Order said, Renegades don't want to scrim Order. Chiefs as well, it'll only be a little bit like you're going to avoid the top level competition if you're the giants in the region because you don't want to help those guys get better. Certainly not get better against you. But when it comes to lower level teams, that's where you can really just come in, practice a couple of your strats and see what the holes are. And I imagine they've probably played against a team like Downfall a little bit. But the reality is this is a super scrim. This is somewhere that Renegades might come in pugging, they might come in scrimming, but as we saw in Mirage, when you start to win rounds and actually show that individually you can take them, then they'll start to play their proper game. And that's where you learn a lot. That's where you really get the data. Immediately in this pistol round, Licky's managed to open it up. They've got control towards A, and now they're pressuring Banana. They're checking the close left. Malta's taken down. Oh, they did manage to spot Ince in the end. That's unfortunate. So Sick goes left by himself, trying to get it done. Banana's open completely, and Dexter, we saw him having this very awkward fight towards top mid, which eventually ends in his doom. A solid round by Downfall. They ran into a 3-man stack in Banana. I was watching on the radar, and Ince was tucked up close. It seemed like he was left unchecked for a little bit, and that could have been the round gone, but they still, even despite seeing 2 players on top Banana, they still cleared 3.
They still managed to get the job done, and you could tell that Downfall, they were a little bit ready for it, I dare say. They were just sitting back on that T ramp, and when the exchanges came, they went their way. So it was a good job to take early control of Carpet away from Renegades, while also trying to maintain some control of the A ramp. So the passive approach actually worked for them quite well, but now we see the pistols come out from Renegades. We see the Deagles, 5.7, the P250. It's the Whitlam sampler of pistol weaponry, but this is the map to make it work. So they have some utility to try and make things go their way, just to try and slow things down, also allow their teammates to rotate. Utility is super important on a map like Inferno. That's why you don't see them necessarily buying in with just SMGs.
I want to see Renegades have that same kind of turnaround that they did over on Mirage. They lost the pistol, they answered back immediately, and this time, it's a little bit of a stack up. Dexter's already come around to the B side, but Moop having to solo push A. Let's go. There we go. Cause the full rotations of his team. They're going to get the plant down. If he died there, I think Downfall would be left in no man's land. They wouldn't know where to go. This is at that point A is overrun again. They wouldn't know if all the players are there at this stage, because they were only running top mid, but it's all worked out for them. And at this stage, you're probably even going to try to hunt these pistols down with the MAC-10 and the PP Bison, which has come out for the second time. We saw it versus Ground Zero. I think it was 2D that deployed it then. Here it is again.
I mean, against some CTs, you'd say you've got 64 opportunities for a headshot in that particular weapon. Particularly if they do not buy anything in the head armor department. But there was investment there from Renegades. So the pistols came through, and Moop just ran through A, clearing things out with that MAC-10. And it was an information gathering attempt, an expedition, if you will. And that allowed them to just get on and keep things relatively clean as well. Renegades, not a lot they could do, despite the fact that they did have some utility. There wasn't really a whole lot that could be done against a grouped up contingent. Downfall now, just again a slower approach coming out. They're just going to let the SMGs do the work here. Let them be the ones to hit the choke points first, get the information. In the meantime, the rifles are just holding steady, as we do see Mizzy land a whole heap of damage onto Inns and does catch him out. So Renegades go down one player early on. The grenade doesn't actually reach its target just yet. So I like what I'm seeing from Downfall. It's discipline.
Well, it needs to be if they have any chance of taking down Renegades. We saw their Inferno was solid the other day. And so I'm quite glad to see them coming into this one with at least some sort of wind in their sails straight away. Renegades, I've only got those pistols, so this is a round. Oh, no! I wanted them to get away with it cleanly. That's the point I was building up to. And they just got smacked by Malta. Damage done as well over to Moop and 2D. This could become quite costly quite quickly.
But at least put a timer on things.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? They can just tuck away now and wait for the CDs to push into them. It should be fine as long as those players with the AKs are taking the opening fights.
Not a whole lot on offer here for Renegades. I think the T side's just going to filter out through Banana. Keep a hold of those weapons for as long as possible. Dexter might try and insert himself and keep them there on the bomb site, but there's nothing on offer. So Renegades, they will come into the gun round with no bonus weaponry whatsoever. Downfall refused to give anything over, and you can see, look at the T economy. It's already looking pretty healthy. A lot of bomb plants in a row. Also, a lot of retention of equipment has helped in that particular department.
I think this is a much better start to Downfall than even what Renegades had over on the previous map, because, well, obviously 3-0 is better than 3-1, isn't it? But they've also really earned the position they're in. There's no gimmicky economy tricks to it. Renegades have been able to get their pistols out round 2, got smacked, eco. Now it's the full buy. And if they can manage to shut this down, they'll already have the foundations built for a pretty decent half. As a matter of fact, even the 3-0 is that done in and of itself. And we saw their CT side. Once 2D gets that op in hand, oh boy, he is scary. But for now, it's mostly SMGs. Hat's getting himself a kill, even while he was jumping up, starting that spray. The bullets eventually start to connect, and a 4 versus 5 as Renegades just took away and allow Downfall to make the next move.
2D. Just seeing if he can get some position here around jungle. No one's going to present anything just yet, but Licky, he's somehow alive in that smoke. He's also managed to get the double grenade onto Hats. He doesn't go down. He was left on 1 HP. They get the trade, though, Renegades, and they hold control of Pit. Sicko still alive in the A-bomb side, and that has repelled Savage with 40 seconds left. He's got a 4 versus 1. He does have the bomb in possession, so Renegades have maintained a player over towards B at the very least, so they have that information. And Savage, he's just going to try and wait the timer out a little bit, hope that he can maybe get another rotation over towards the B bomb site, and that's exactly what's happening. But he's now, with 17 seconds left, got to make his move if he's going to have an attempt here. So I think he might have left it a little bit too late. He's going to go for the bomb plant. In fact, he's just going to just sprint it straight in and be denied. Maybe needed to make his move towards the bomb site a little bit earlier than that, but I like the initial thought pattern to wait things out a little bit and let the CT spread to try and cover the majority of the map.
Gorgeous work by Renegades, though. They win both of the opening duels, and that's pretty much it, right? There was nothing terribly special about their setup on that round. They didn't try any crazy plays. It was just tight Counter-Strike, taking the fights with the rifles. And now, as we said, though, Downfall have got that extra bit of money. They were looking pretty healthy coming into this one. They've managed to get a beautiful nade onto Ids that landed right at his tippy toes and took him down to 41 health.
This is a dangerous game both these two teams are playing with that early Banana control. It's a struggle for power in Banana, and there's been a few instances where grenades have gone flying by either side. That's probably the first grenade that's actually landed and done a heap of damage, but there's been a few close calls, so it's a dangerous game you play when you take Banana control early.
I'm looking towards Downfall, and you can see that they've got this little bit of a shift towards Banana. 4 players here, 50 seconds left. The opportunity to move back is still there with Moop in position. I'm wondering if they're going to use him to try and cut off the rotates or sell a fake, because he's really poking out there. Oh god, he's just walked out on short. That was a very brave play. You can substitute brave with another word if you want. It's now oh no, they're just being sprayed down. Malta catching them as they come around that corner. Not even the assist from his teammate spraying on top of Coffins. That's all him. And he's still up above. Dexter's got a quick flank. And you can see they're playing confident, but maybe being punished. 20 seconds left. There's time to get this plant in. But Ince is going to run forward. He's going to cut them off. And a nice little spray over to 2D. He was 1 HP, so the transfer not too hard. As it's 3-2 now. Renegades getting that one on the board. And really shutting down that T economy, especially because there was no bomb plant. There should be no investment. I really don't get that though, Jim. Like, Moop just swings out wide. Not even a piece of utility used. I mean, I feel like there's two schools of thought. You're either you're going to be quiet there because you're trying to cut the rotates, or you're going to be loud and try to sell the fake. You know, flash yourself out, get something done. Have your teammate, if you don't have a flash, from bottom mid before they rotate fully to banana, flash up so you can peek out.
Oh,
seemed way too reckless.
Sicko is taking that peak once again. We saw Downfall on Inferno do the same thing with Mook in that position in Boiler. He was in carpets in Boiler. He was that player just trying to sell the fake, or alternatively just cut the rotation. So I think you're right in saying that there's two schools of thought that you either need to be as loud as possible or as silent as possible and be the thorn in the side of the rotation. There wasn't any rotation coming off. Dexter had complete control of top mid brackets with that boost, so he just had to play that waiting game, and it yielded him some results. But Downfall didn't get anything entering into that B bomb site. Malta was set up for it. Ince was ready to go, and you can see now the confidence that Renegades are playing with. They're just pushing down mid. They're making it really difficult now for Downfall to try and find a rhythm. And Malta gets the final spray through that door onto Savage.
One way to close it out. But we weren't expecting much from Downfall in that round. Really, this is where we, again, look to them to do a little bit of damage. They've got the rifles out. I'm just sat here waiting, Jim, though. I'm waiting for 2D to get himself that op in hands, for Savage to show up. And Licky's been pretty quiet today compared to his performance versus Ground Zero. It was, he was obviously...
I think the extra... Yeah, I think the extra motivation against Ground Zero being his former roster might have been, you know, partly to blame for his performance yesterday. He was a man on a mission. He was straight up ready to prove that dropping him was the worst thing that they did. And he had a great performance. But again, Hat's in a forward position here, catches Moop out. So immediately their carpet lurk is gone. But they're still going to try and persist here with Dexter. Just waiting things out. That flash comes through. It's caused enough of a stir. Licky completely taken out as well. He didn't have a choice. He was a quick snap. And that was that. Now just Savage the youngster, and he is decapitated by Dexter. So a rough few rounds now for Downfall after what was a relatively promising start.
Yeah, it's definitely not been ideal. You know, I feel like when you look at Licky's performance as well in that game versus Ground Zero, he definitely had the motivation coming up against his former teammates. I wonder if it helped that maybe he knew their tendencies a little bit more, having played with them for so long. I feel like it can be a little bit easier in that sense because you're slotting into a new team, so you're not going to be playing exactly the same. Whereas if you know how the core of your opponents likes to play around, you can definitely target them a little bit more. This is
Sicko just keeps going for that pick, by the way, every time, and he's making it work. It's disgusting.
Look at the money though for the T side, 2,900 on 2D. We could be seeing the op come out in the next round, and that's where Sicko could get punished. And really, at this point, it feels like that's necessary, right? Because if you're Downfall, you realize this guy is just swinging mid every single round. What can you do about that? Well, you could try rush him down, but you've got an opera like 2D. Why not give him the scope weapon? Even T-side Inferno, we've seen him make it work.
Albeit a little bit more difficult. However, I feel as though there is opportunity on offer. Renegades are trying to peak areas of the map. Banana, for example, right now, Malta and Inns are doing exactly that. They're going for peaks, so they need to be careful here. They could give up some weaponry. Malta, he gets out in time before the cavalry arrives. They are just going to sit back in the opposite pillars at the back of the site. Licky finds him, traded by Inns, but lots of work to do. There is no smoke for the cross. However, it's not needed. Inns is just having a ball at the carnival, and he is cleaning up.
5-3 is a nice little comeback. You got to remember the early rounds when you go up on the 3-0. It's a very different environment than if Renegades had won the pistol. Like at the moment, look at the money on the CT side. They're 10k on 4 players, or effectively. Here we go. Look again, the push down middle. This time it's a push down mid, not a peak on mid. Sicko is getting more and more confident. He didn't have the support from a player on short or long if he took the shot and they were already close. That was a very risky play, but it's just the level of comfort that they have at the moment, that they don't even feel like they have to play structured Counter-Strike. And this is what we brought up, Jim, about, first of all, this being Renegade's most picked map. It is probably their most comfortable map. On Mirage, they are undefeated now 8 out of 8 times, but that's just individually. And this map, they understand the core concepts of it so damn well. It's like the back of their hand. And I feel like Downfall, picking into it, they're using this as a learning opportunity. But right now, there's not a lot to learn from, because Renegades are just almost pugging it in a way. Whoa, what's happening here?
Oh, Savage. Double reply. So he's matched Dexter's effort. However, Hats is still up. You can only find one trying to control that AK spray. Now Licky and Savage, two of the younger additions here to this Downfall roster. Gonna have to try and be the ones to pull them out of the fire. Malta and Sicko. An AWP can make things difficult to retake. But I feel as though the situation that Savage put himself in certainly lent itself towards Renegades there at the moment. I think Licky might be in trouble here. Malta just tapping the defuse, trying to bring him out. Licky will have to step, and he does. Malta just going for the pros don't fake approach. And Downfall find themselves an important 4th round, but not enough to break the economy of the city side yet here. I thought Dexter might have done enough, but Savage, what is that?
Yeah, disgusting work. And we talked about him. Once he gets warmed up, he's a force to be reckoned with. And those are the 2 players, Savage and Licky, that said I wanted to see more from, and that's exactly why. I gotta say, odd though, Dexter peeked out on mid, killed 1 player, and then Mizzy came up with his back turn. It's like, that was a very odd scenario. And obviously he got dropped as well, but luckily the trades were there from Savage, and the flick through the smoke was just sheer disgusting. Sicko again going for the mid peak. Not punished for it this time. 2D obviously down on the Galil. Didn't quite have the same potential as he did in the previous round with that op. But Renegades now tightening the ship a little bit. They're playing a full short stack. Hats watching for the push. And Hats has had a really rough series, actually, Jim. We've seen him miss a lot of shots. And I think that's... it's not something that they're going to be too worried about in this scenario, but versus Chiefs, for example, that could be a big difference maker.
Yeah, I think the danger with Hats is too, he can get inside his own head a little bit when he starts missing shots. That's exactly what we needed from Moot in earlier rounds. Maybe a little bit more patience. And in fact, what he's done is exposed himself entirely to Diggity there. But you could see the disarray. Downfall ran up and down Banana at least twice while Moot was walking out. So on the back of his call, I think they wanted to rotate towards A again, but that's just led to a difficult B take. 2D takes a lot of damage as Savage somehow survives. Cirque du Soleil tactics coming through, but now Hats, the player we said, may have had some issues. It's been taken out by 2D. That grenade definitely gave away his position, but that was so close. A bullet landed on either of them, or a strong breeze, perhaps. And that round could have gone the way of Renegades.
If the breeze was going... no, wait. East to west. Because this map is... I'm assuming the top is north. That nade would have killed Savage. He was left on 1 HP. Look, he was 5 health. Nade came through and he got lit to 1. It was so damn close. He just about survived it. He must have blown it away as it was coming towards him. Just a sneeze. The particle slowed it down. But with that, we're on 5-5. We're tied up. Downfall are definitely bringing the hurt over to Renegades. We said there was 10k on 4 players. Remember at 5-3? Well, now we're in a position where Renegades are on their last legs economically. A double op setup deployed. Just to remind you, this is Inferno, by the way. Don't take the double op setup as if we're on a different map. It doesn't happen all too often, and it's sometimes a bit of a desperation play. And with Renegades pulling that out, you can see that they're definitely being challenged a little bit by Downfall, but way too much space being given to Dexter there. He finds a kill, but really he shouldn't have even gotten away with that. And also, I laughed the previous round, Jim, because you said, like, Moop, yeah, he finally shows a bit more patience, and they just ran out on short. It's like, oh, okay, never mind.
Right on cue. Hats now just to give away his position, just to keep himself alive, but that allows an easy A take now coming out from Downfall. So that Pit is still holding the bomb captive as Savage finally releases it into the bomb site, and they're not even going to go for this. Double AWP setup. The problem with the double AWP setup is it's very difficult to retake either site with an AWP on this map. And I mean, the other thing with it is too, yeah, you've got options where you play it at A, but B, you're either passive or aggressive. That's it. If you're passive, you probably got more options than anything else, but if you're aggressive, there's only a few places you can be.
By the way, most people are probably watching on Twitch, right? I notice even on HLTV, Twitch is the only thing that's embedded for the English channel. But if you guys don't know, which you might not, there's also an English stream on YouTube. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I'm watching on Twitch. Why are you telling me about YouTube? What is this about? Well, the YouTube channel is in 4K. Now, be warned, your internet got to be all right. It's got to be decent in order to use this. It will demand quite a lot from you, but it's oh my god, it's worth it. So if you guys haven't checked it out, please honestly do. It's youtube.com/PGL, and it is 4K 60 FPS and the most beautiful way I've ever watched Counter-Strike in my life. Shout out to the people watching on YouTube. Hope you guys are enjoying it. My god, Jim, it's on. Have you watched it yet, Jim? Have you checked out the YouTube?
I have. Funnily enough, my internet actually handles it. I was watching some of the POL actually in 4K. I haven't had a chance to watch this because obviously I've been on broadcast, but Ins taking that AWP towards Banana. The two weapons that they did retain in this round, Renegade. So always a good option to send your AWP towards Banana on a round where you don't have much weaponry. If you do retain that AWP, it's good to have it towards B because it can really allow you to play a 4-1 setup, which is exactly what Renegades are doing right now. Sicko takes Moop out, who was solo pushing towards the A bomb site. And the rotation's actually going to come back in time. You can see the smoke has been dropped towards B, and that is just buying time for the rotation to come through. Renegades are backing this in. They're sending through to this bomb site.
Well, sending it all the way through. Ince catching it onto Savage, another as well, and a Deagle coming out to try and end the round. But Sicko was too quick with the AK. Renegades right back in there on 6-6, keeping it nice and tight and making sure Downfall don't get away with anything. I mean, this is a situation at the moment where I'm beyond impressed by Downfall's performance versus Renegades. Honestly, looking at this, even with the performance they delivered the other day, I want it to be close. I want them to do well. I really am rooting for them. But statistically, I guess, you would imagine they'd just get wrecked. Like, they should be flat as a pancake in this game. But the promise for this roster is 100% there. And I can't even point down towards the play. Like, the only thing at the moment that's bothering me is how aggressive Moop is. Like, I think he's fallen way too many times by just swinging out on short like a lunatic. But if I was him and I was dying like that a lot, I'd be pulling my hair out. But I guess he can't do that. So maybe that's what's stopping him.
End up looking like Tom.
At least Moop has hair somewhere. Tom's like, you ever seen those cats that are just like a Sphinx cat? That's exactly what Tom looks like. All over.
Bat wings. It's the only reference I'm going to leave. However, Moop does have a numbers advantage in this A bomb site. That is certainly something he does have right now, and that is going to force Renegades into another save scenario. They are out of there quicker than a rat up a drain pipe. They have taken those two AWPs towards B and have hightailed it. There's no chase coming out from Downfall, certainly not with any conviction, because their economy isn't fantastic either.
I will say, Jim, I'm not quite sure I know how quickly a rat goes up a drain pipe, or why, but I'll just imagine that it's
Scampering.
very quickly. God, it's one thing I'm always afraid of when walking outside without shoes on is rats. I don't know why. Rats and spiders. I don't go outside.
Oh, you'd love this. You'd love this beautiful sunburnt country.
Yeah, that's one reason I'm never gonna go. Just, my friend moved there from a place in Ireland called Cork, which is like way down the countryside. And she said
I'm
that
familiar.
when she walks home, she lives in Perth, that there's giant spiders in the trees. You have to look out in the the trees that hang over the path. That you have to like be careful of spiders inside the trees, maybe dropping on you or having some webs. And no, I'm good.
Cork have a decent hurling team, I understand. Speaking of
They
hurling,
do.
they're hurling grenades towards top mid. And that gets some brackets control, and this is just going to allow them to now put pressure on this A bomb site. It's right on the tipper area of my tongue. I can't quite get it. Now I'm just flexing
appreciate it.
hurling knowledge.
Yeah, no, I'm appreciating it. Do you watch hurling?
I have. I've watched a
Fair play.
few games of hurling. It's a tough sport.
I used to play as a
Those
kid.
of you, it's honestly, if you're not familiar with it, it's basically like hockey meets AFL meets lacrosse. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I shattered a kid's ankle when I was like 12. Missed the ball and hit him right in the ball of his ankle. But look at this, hitting right in towards the A site. So much damage being done at the moment by Downfall. It's a 3v1. Shot connected by Ince. Nade goes through. He's got another challenge up close, and he drops 2D. This is fantastic work by Ince, faking the rotate over to short with a bunny hop. But then he comes back. He fades away, and with 15 seconds left, he's going to spot that bomb. Oh, he didn't see it. The smoke is covering it just about. He's walking through with a P250. Here's the steps. The plant's being sought after, and he gets the kill as well. A 3K as Ince pulls that round out of a hat like a magician. I don't know what the hell that was. Downfall had it in the bag, but through some massive work, Renegades tie it up.
Oh my, Inns goes all out in that round. And you wouldn't normally pin him as an AWPer. However, he's picked it up. He's been able to lock down that B bomb site by either watching Banana or just playing passively. He's been a real, I guess, asset to the team in these late rounds. Since he's picked up that op, since they saved that AWP in the double AWP setup, he's been a real rock here, and he's going to need to be called on again. He hasn't hit anything just yet, but he does find at least two. And thankfully, Malta arrives on the scene to help, and he finds a final no-scope. Inns has cleaned up, and Renegades only slightly come ahead though after their CT side on Inferno. Keep in mind this is their map pick as well, so going to expect them to be quite proficient on this T side, but he eventually makes it work here with the no scopes.
Oh man, we've seen Novas, but it's the first time we're seeing the AWP used like a Nova.
The fish are in the barrel.
Yeah. Well, he's gotten himself a crayon. He's just drawn the crosshair on his monitor. Of course, not a marker, because you can't rub that off. But what's even better is if you have the monitor I have. Can't say what it is in case of sponsor conflicts, but it has a built-in crosshair. Actually, you can just tap two buttons and a crosshair comes up.
Doesn't matter in CS. It's not accurate. It's not accurate in CSGO.
I'll tell you something. Throw me on Flying Scoutsman, and I'm doming people. Don't even have to zoom. Beautiful.
I know players that use blue tack.
Yeah.
But that was long ago, and that was in 1.6.
Yeah, well, I suppose they didn't have the built-in monitor crosshair. So, oh, this is a beautiful crossfire. 4 players on mid. 2 having to spam through the smoke, but they're lined up. The damage is okay, but it's not enough. They've lost both players on short and the A site, now blocked out by smokes and Renegades. They've just overrun this joint.
That they have. They've got control of everything. So the rats have poured out of the drain pipe, and that is a great flash top mid. Mizzy completely blind. He doesn't get finished though. However, it is just chewing up time in this retake. And Downfall, they're on their haunches right now, hoping to find a way into this bomb site, but they are knocking and knocking and knocking, and they've been locked out. They're not even going to go for it. They're going to just try and save what they have. They've got a smoke. They've got a diffuser. And there are some players with armor too. So Dexter, he's a one-man wrecking ball sent on a mission to try and take everything out of their hands. And they do retain some weaponry though, so there are some positives to take. But that was a great round from Renegades. It was something simple. They just grouped up the angry mob with pitchforks, smokes, and flashes, got themselves into A.
Solid stuff by Renegades, and with the pistol under their belt, now they can feel at least a little bit more comfortable. The reality is they are being challenged to an extent that you didn't imagine they would be, but now they're out for blood as Dexter just shuts down 2D straight away. As the scout going over to Moop, trying to get some damage done as they push into the site, but they're forced back, way back. With this force buy coming through from Downfall, and we saw it from Renegades, right? If you lose this, you're going to go down 3-0 in the half. And at that point, Renegades have got, again, those foundations built back up for themselves. They'll then be looking good to close this one out. And on the T side, of course, usually you'd have a disadvantage on Inferno, right? But when it comes to you being such a heavily favored team with so many individuals that are firing off right now, there is definitely the argument that this is going to be the better half for Renegades.
And a firm argument that is, but smokes mean the safe cross into A is possible. Moop just trying to see if he can test his luck through that smoke. Simple plant, and almost immediately Downfall have backed off. They have left the building, and they're going to turtle up in B and try and save things out here, but Inns has found some inspiration.
God damn it. We really do have to let you and Tom do a map together. I think it would be the end of the internet. It all just stops. This is, oh man, they're just hunting them down. MP5s and everything coming through. All the silenced weapons for Sicko. He's just spraying away. The Deagle coming in. There's one onto Malta. Oh, but he doesn't know. Right up beside him with Sicko like a ninja. Coming in, assassinating him.
Smoke play at its finest between these two teams. I think at that point too, Licky just knew that his number was up. The Grim Reaper was there knocking on his door, and he just decided to throw a few haymakers into the smoke. You know, the old victimless crime, like punching someone in the dark.
I don't know if that's a victimless crime there. I think there's a clear victim in that one. I don't know if you've been to court before, Jim, but don't represent yourself. That's all I'm saying. This is a nice little shutdown. SMG's farming up the cash. It's been the MAC-10 and MP5 show so far. That's one thing I'm going to pull out my pet peeve here. Sicko's running with his USP when he's got an SMG. Just reload it, mate. Just reload it. Because the reality is, if you take that kill, you're just robbing ints of money. And as we just saw there, Dexter did. Like, I really don't like it when players go after that frag. When you've got 3 SMGs especially, you want to be getting the extra cash. And it's a minor detail, but it's one that really gets on my nerves, I'll be honest.
Yeah, look, you're taking $300 possible out of the ecosystem, aren't you? I mean, ultimately, that's what it is. It's a grenade of some sort, smoke, HE, or a flash that's being potentially robbed, not in the immediate next round, but maybe future rounds.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, for sure. But you can always do a little bit better on that one. Just one of those things.
Ooh. Great timing on that flash peak, though. It's forced 2D back into the bomb site, but they still have that player perched high and diggity. And these MAC-10s are going to be the ones to try and... Oh, Malta does get caught out, though. He is the fake that's being sold towards the A bomb site. Downfall haven't fallen for it. They have kept 3 on this B bomb site, and this is going to make it interesting.
It is indeed. They've split in towards the CT spawn. They've got the control. 2D's good for one, but even with that extra man, they can't cover the back all the way. Hats tears them apart as Savage tries to pull back into this one. He's done good damage to Hats. 25 HP. Sicko's low as well, but he can't get the shots off. Now the retake 2v2. The bomb has to be planted, though, and there's no smoke in play. Over on the attacking side, the Molly cuts off one. CT's still open. They're lucky no pushes come through, no peeks. They were worried perhaps about that op that had been picked up. And now Downfall pushing together, looking to make this work. Ooh. They find the first, but there's the second coming through. Sicko looking for more, but he can't get it done. He's shut down. Round closed out. Downfall get it. 8 on the board. And a defuse guaranteeing that. With an op to be retrieved as well. It's not the worst round for Downfall considering how things started out.
I think at this stage too, any round that they get is going to be a perceived positive for them, regardless of the win conditions and what the flow-on effect is into the next round. I think they're effectively just taking it one round at a time. They're not going to look to what has happened immediately anyway in terms of economy. They'll be sitting there cheering regardless. You've just won a round in a retake situation against the best team in the region. So for them, every small possible little victory, they are celebrating.
That's the way you've got to approach a match like this, right? Though, otherwise you'd be coming into it at the start and going, well, we've lost. Like, it would be pretty pointless. Like, you'd look at the map feed and go, well, GG, guys, I'm going to go out for lunch. Catch you later.
Pack her up, boys.
Yeah, there's no point even trying. Like, you're your matchmaking teammate after you've won the first 3 rounds and you lose the first buy round. Just, oh, GG, idiot team. God damn it.
It's half of Twitch chat.
You're not wrong. Wow. I mean, it takes confidence. I was going to say it takes confidence to do what Dexter did, but then Moop just swung wide with an XM and tried to take a range duel versus him. That takes more confidence. Maybe it takes more than just confidence, but we'll leave it a confidence for now. I don't know what's going on with Moop in this one, if he's just said, like, you know what? I don't care about Renegades, dude. I'm going to style on them. But, I wish he'd stop. That's the only thing I'll say.
It is supreme confidence, isn't it? I mean, to just do that anyway. But yeah, there's certainly ways in which you can contribute a little bit differently to the round. However, in terms of the role that he's playing, he's getting them a lot of information. It's also allowing him to maybe backseat them a little bit in these late 3v3 sort of situations that they find themselves in now.
Well, if I'm him, I'm calling from the back seat. Pull over, guys. It's time to get off this ride, off this wagon. Is they're going to go for the save. It's 11. Turning into 12 for Renegades. Again, the fact that they're being challenged to this extent, the fact that it is this close of a game, is a huge positive when you look towards Downfall. Like, they have to be so happy with what they're able to do at the moment. Even to make Renegades sweat a little bit, that's a success, really, isn't it?
It is. And for them, as we talked to them before, they are here for experience and to just see how far they can go in this competition. They wouldn't have found them, expected themselves to be in round 2 of this bracket. It definitely wouldn't have. I think their goals have been realistic throughout this. And right now, they're still within striking distance. Oh, that Molotov is inch perfect. Mizzy just falls down. However, Licky finds immediate trade onto Hats. Also just expecting the Molotov to come through on the pit, but he's given himself a smoke to work around at least and wants to ride his bicycle. It's not going to yield him any results at the moment, though. So that grenade does come through, just clipping him with some damage, some chip damage, if you will. But in the meantime, the wrap is coming through from the T side. Their smokes are down, and they're going to wrap him here. So he is in some trouble. It's Pap's Blue Ribbon.
Jim, our Downfall, because obviously my regional knowledge at that level isn't great. Are Downfall like an organization, or is this just something for the players to rally behind?
They are an organization. Admittedly, never really had a team that is broken through to the top levels of CS, but they've been around sort of that tier 2, 3 of Counter-Strike. They actually had a coach. I don't know if he's with them at the moment because I can't find the info on that, but they had a coach by the name of Wooly, who I don't know if he's coaching this particular roster. I know he's with the organization, but was previously a coach of former Chiefs rosters, particularly the coach of the Chiefs roster at IEM Sydney
Okay.
in 2018, and when they famously took down North, was sitting behind them in that instance. But I'm not too sure if he's with them still.
Okay.
So they've had some assistance in previous iterations of the organization. As far as this team goes, though, I don't know if he's working with them.
You see, the reality is the performance they've put on now is good. For us, for kind of people that really know Counter-Strike, you're blown away by what they're able to do up against Renegades at the moment, considering who they are, considering they came through an open qualifier. But then, you take a little bit of a deeper look. If they could actually take a map off Renegades, that would benefit their organization massively. You could go to sponsors. Obviously, that's a very easy sell. Whereas you need people that are experts on Counter-Strike to sell how good they are based on just these results. Like, you'd have to actually watch the games, and I think that's something that a lot of sponsors aren't going to do because they probably don't even understand esports a lot of the time. But
true. This region is also a little bit unique in terms of esports. It's probably not as easy to garner sponsors in this region, particularly for titles like Counter-Strike. Maybe your more well-known titles, or at least family or brand-friendly titles. But Counter-Strike, it has proven difficult for a lot of organizations, even towards the top level, to get themselves sponsorship just on Counter-Strike alone.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. It could be huge, like even just for the team as well, for the organization, for everything, if they could take a map off them. And they're so painstakingly close as well. Like, you can see if the pistol round in the second half went their way, all of a sudden they could be sitting in a position where they're like 12-11 or somewhere close to that scoreline. And that's massive. But they're really fighting on even footing against Renegades, which is not where they want to be, considering they both got the 3-0 starts on their T halves. Let's push in towards the A site. You've got a lurk coming through from Ince. He's just 23 HP, but he's going to look to catch one or two players off on the rotate. It's nothing done. Good start for Downfall, but then Licky falls on the bomb site. 2D traded out 1-for-1. This is looking good for Renegades. They've got the position, they've got the plant, and now they just need the post plants.
And players of this caliber know how to play these post plants. Let's just see what can be mustered here. There is some utility, but they're waiting for Moot to come on through, and he's just been eliminated, so didn't even get a chance for the utility to be expelled somewhat. And just a very fast call being made out on the back of Moot going down to save here for Downfall. So Renegades will bring up their 14th round without too much of a challenge in the retake. And these two weapons that they save are going to be super important. Don't know if they're going to buy into this next round, but they do have some options at least to shuffle the guns around for some players. It might be a little bit light on utility for Savage and Mizzy if they do opt to drop, but they're giving themselves at least another gun round. Or potentially do they save, light buy on the others, and try and buy again in the following round?
It's again a pretty tough call to make. They've obviously gone in for the investment. And you can understand why, and that they don't want to go in for consecutive rounds. Like, you'd have to have a flawless CT half versus Renegades. And as I said, coming into this half, I expect this to be where Renegades put up a better performance. Yes, T side of Inferno might instinctively be something that you would imagine would go the way of the CTs, and generally you'd be right. But when you consider that Renegades are the massively favored side, they've got so much individual power on this team, you don't really expect Downfall to be able to hold off against that. And certainly so far that has been the case. It has been a rough game for them. A rough CT half, at least.
Would you call it a spanking? I wouldn't. I think this has been at least a decent performance from Downfall. I mean, it's not particularly close, but it's not a huge blowout either. This flash, though, it was almost telegraphed.
You could see
Moot
it coming
doing
around.
Moot things.
Of course, yeah. Move's got to play confident. He's got to just play aggressive. He's got himself a kill on the A site, but now he's going to need to do a little bit more on B. He turned back. For a second, he was thinking about saving. And that call might still be made. Yeah, it is. I guess they were just hoping that either the bomb wouldn't go down or that it would rotate to the A side or something like that. But Renegades aren't interested in playing those kind of games. Certainly not the same way. Actually, have we seen them play a single fake? I know there was a round where they like got an opening duel and switched direction. And I know that obviously Downfall in this map, Moop, they went for B, but then Moop opened up the A side. But I'm trying to think of Renegades actually faking, at least having the intention to at the start of the round. And I don't know if they have.
I don't think they've needed to be honest. I don't recall them making any fast rotations on the back of action. So no, I don't think they actually have. I think they've just been very steadfast in making their entries work at that particular site that they're focused on.
Mm-hmm. The same on Mirage as well, right? They were going for mid and then A site. They were executing A. They were pushing B, but there was no sort of afterthought of should we try to sell Faye? Like, 'cause they're not worried about out IQing Downfall. They know they can just out CS them.
Dexter makes a bit of damage from that Molotov. And whilst that might frame some early exchanges, that grenade could have done a lot more damage to Mizzy had he not done the hot shoe shuffle and got himself out of there quite quickly. But it does keep things in favour of Renegades in terms of numbers. So Inns is just going to try and see as far as he can get through that smoke without being spotted. But this is the fakes that they sell. They set someone individually towards the other end of the map, maybe throw a flash, maybe show some presence. That's about it. But you can see he wasn't too interested. He just wants to maintain number advantage over towards A for them as quickly as possible. They've actually halted their push, waiting for Inns to rejoin.
And there goes Moop. Aggressive in the apartments, shut down by a well-timed peek on Malta. My God. That was so quick. And you got to remember, these things look a lot slower because we've got X-ray. And so we're interpreting them. We're already ready. You're expecting it. But when you're actually playing and you don't have that X-ray, it's ridiculous how quick these guys come around a corner and just boom, you're dead. 2D's able to grab one, but that's all. And Jim, that is going to be the map and series for Renegades. It was expected. Again, Downfall weren't supposed to come in here and win, but they did a good job. They managed to get some good damage done. At the end of the day, though, Renegades go on through, and that cements them as being one of the two